the discussion today, and you found us right in the middle of this discussion. Philip, let me come back. No, Sami, let me come to you. Philip, you help us understand that question that is coming from our viewer, right? We'll repeat it in just a little bit. But Sami, just to come back on what Trevor had asked before we went on break, how difficult it is for SMEs, for the mamambogas, for any young person who is doing, or rather who wants to set up biashara in Kenya, how difficult or how easy is it given the taxes on SMEs?
Well, let me say it's difficult, and one of the things that KRA should do is to be able to streamline that sector in terms of knowing exactly what to tax and who to tax. Because ideally, KRA, for now, they don't know who to tax and how to tax in terms of this of the small medium entrepreneurs, because there are no clear-cut ways of how much are you supposed to be taxed in your turnover. And I think that information, if they have it, it should come to the mashinani.
So as a young Kenyan, do I have better chances of starting my business in Rwanda?
Let me say yes. Let me say yes. And it's a bitter pill to swallow. Let me say yes. I've been to Rwanda, I think, three times. And one of the times I was there is the Africa Summit. And we had small, medium entrepreneurs for the whole of Africa. We gathered there so that we can be able to deliberate on some things. It's so easy for you to do business in Rwanda. Number one, when it comes to even registration of the company, it doesn't take long. Actually, 6 hours you have your registration certificate. Number two, there's what they call the RDB, the Rwanda Development Board. When you come on board, they actually tell you the sectors which they need you to invest in, and actually give you a lot of information, even demographics. They share the demographics with you in terms of these are the population, and this is your services are needed here more because it's scattered. And once you have that kind of information, it's easier for you to penetrate. They also have stimulus, economic stimulus. RDB is going to give you loans, or to facilitate loans for you if you're a small medium entrepreneur and you're not even a Kenyan. So when you look at that kind of environment, I think Rwanda is going very fast in terms of that. And Kenya, we should think, and the government should take SMEs seriously, because when you look even at the statistics, the gentleman here can say that we contribute to the half of the GDP. If the projection of our GDP is 6.4, half of that, 3%, is small medium entrepreneurs. But we have been ignored for a very long time. And if KRA really wants, and CG, my good friend, wants to bring in to raise the amount of money in terms of tax collection, what we can do is, there are some people who are not in the tax bracket, and ideally you should pay taxes which are not punitive, so that we can be able to distribute the tax collection and ease on some people and also on other people. So because a few people are paying taxes in Kenya, if you look at the people who are paying taxes, their demographics, few people are paying taxes in Kenya. And when few people are paying taxes in Kenya, you find that, as my brother was saying here, the economy is demanding so much. The growth of the economy is demanding so much, and we are not actually there. And I said it when we were off air. We said that you cannot grow an economy by collection of taxes. You grow an economy by having incentives in production.
In fact, it's interesting you bring that up, because we have the soundbite of the Commissioner General on that particular issue, and this is what he had to say in regards to tax collection. Let's listen.
If all of us were to pay the taxes we ought to pay, only what we ought to pay, not a shilling more, just all of us, we will not borrow any money. Trust me, we will not borrow any money. But if people do not want to pay taxes, people go out of their way to invest in schemes. People are deducting even employees' money and they don't remit. People are paying, deducting, withholding VAT, deducting, withholding taxes, and they don't want to pay. People are out there earning their money, developing properties, doing everything, and not paying taxes. Then there is a problem. And if all of us are to pay, we can actually bring it down, even the rate of taxes in this country.
You don't agree with the CG?
I beg to disagree. I beg to disagree, because an economy is not grown by payment of taxes; it's grown by production. And we as Kenyan, we are a consumer-based economy, whereby the production part of it is not very well nurtured. And let me say this: I know the president in the Agenda 4 is pushing for local production, local manufacturers. But as we push for local manufacturers, we also need to look at the whole picture. The cost of production in Kenya is very expensive when it comes even to power. You find that some companies actually, they want to set base maybe in Ethiopia because power is cheap, to South Africa. They produce in Ethiopia and South Africa, then they export to Kenya. So it has to be a holistic picture, whereby me as an entrepreneur, as an SME, I'm supposed to be, for me to migrate from small medium entrepreneur to a manufacturer, you don't kill a sector to build a sector. You actually nurture a sector to grow into this other sector. And I've seen some deliberate moves even by some association whereby they want to kill the small medium entrepreneurs. They are closing in on some of the importations so that we can actually give an incentive to the production. But this local production in Kenya, can it be able to meet the market? Why do you want to monopolize certain products and yet we are not there? So you find that they create a demand so that, you know, they create that demand so that they can maximize on the profits. And I think that's a wrong way of approach even when you want to grow the economy. So ideally, the small medium entrepreneurs, the seriousness they are supposed to be taken with, they should. And we sit down even with the government and say, these are the demographics. There's a bill that Mwangiweria brought in, and they said, why can't we even have bureaus in every county that is registering the small medium entrepreneurs so that we can know where you are and what you're doing, so that when you're planning, like what you're doing the census, so that when you are planning, we know we have small medium entrepreneurs in this county and this is their need. Once we do that, we are able even now to distribute money. But the small medium entrepreneurs in Kenya are dying. And I can tell you for sure, because as I think Daniel was saying that, we can't even get loans in Kenya. Why? Because the government is competing with us to get loans. When you go to the bank, you are asked so many documentations just to close you in, to close you out that we can't give you this money. And that is why you find that SMEs now, they have opted now to have their own small chamas down there. Their money circulates there. But that money circulates there. Does the government know how much is circulating? Is the government taking advantage of that to get even taxes from there? They don't get taxes because I'm borrowing from my brother here 2 million shillings, you know, on a matter of trust, and I pay back. And if, for example, like the way they are saying, they are expert, and if, for example, I cook my books and I give KRA, this is what I've made, you don't know what has circulated down there. And I think it should have a friendly approach so that I feel free to come and tell KRA, I'm making 10 million shillings and I want to pay my taxes because I'm a patriotic Kenyan.
Okay. I think I want to exercise caution there, and in terms of the SMEs, because one of the things you have to realize, paying tax, for example, is a price you have to pay for being in a civilized economy and international duty. With SMEs saying, indicating that they're not paying taxes around their money circulating amongst yourselves, and not then paying what is due to Caesar, that could carefully be deemed as evasion, and that is on dangerous ground. So that's what the CG was alluding to. We've got to expand the tax base. That I totally concur. Okay, and expanding that tax base is being bold enough and saying, how do SMEs trade? And it's on money transfer, on the mobile money transfer. So an SME handling 30,000 a day, an individual handling 30,000 a day, if you take an average of 300 days, that's about 9 million. Is that money from tax sources? Because remember, they're enjoying the roads, they're enjoying the security. There's some order in the country that they're enjoying, hence they're thriving. As they consolidate and deconsolidate and bring in containers to do business, because there's structure. And I think it's fair that they come to the table and also contribute into that expanding the tax base.
And I can respond to that. You see, it's a give and take relationship. And I think one of the things that we have done of late is to sit down with KRA, because truthfully, as we are saying, we are going to expand the tax kitty and also bring more people on board. Truthfully, because I represent the SMEs, you find a good number of them when it comes to chamas, that money doesn't reflect anywhere. And that's why you find that most of the SMEs, based on the government regulations, even the banking sector, you find the capping and all the rest. The people are doing pillow banking. And that's why, from a policy level, the government should come out from a policy level, have a soft landing of SMEs. Then from there, guys can be able now to come out and pay taxes. Because when you look at even how do you approach that, when when you go there and tell the CG, we have a chama and the turnover is 21 million shillings.
Talking of pillow banking, as you do pillow banking within that, 30th of October is coming in. And the money has to be
there. We really have to wind up on this now, Daniel.
But I think one of the issues that needs to be said clearly, tax evasion is wrong. It's very clear tax evasion is wrong. There is no excuse for collecting taxes and failing to remit them. I think that is one of the things that we're all saying.
Yes.
I think we're also saying that the tax base needs to be expanded.
Yes.
Because the reality of the matter is that when you look at the companies and the individuals who pay and file their returns, they're a fraction of Kenya's entire population. So there is a need to go beyond the people who are registered or the people who essentially pay taxes and expand the tax base.
Right. Philip, very quick. Go ahead.
But the main problem that we have right now is that those people who are within the tax base are the ones who are often squeezed for more and more, and often without following due process. And I think that's the thing that we're saying, that at the end of the day, what the Kenya Revenue Authority needs to do is to go back to its old philosophy of working together with taxpayers to ensure compliance, but not just focus on those people who are within the tax base, who are actually complying, expand the tax base to those people who are not yet within the bracket.
Right. Philip, even we need to take closing comments because of time, but very quickly, I need you to answer the question from our viewer. He is in Kenya, he's based in Kenya, but one of his clients is based in the US. It's an online business, but the service he's offering in the US is not taxable.
So in that case, the person is involved in a business and is billing his client out in the US.
Yes, so where does he pay his taxes?
He pays his taxes in Kenya because it's income.
Even if the service is not taxable in the States?
Yes, because he's doing the work here, billing the guy in the US, the guy pays him, that is income to him.
But isn't it a bit complex, because if it's not taxable in the US, how do you add VAT there? Because if I'm billing you, I'll say plus VAT,
so
but it's not taxable where I am.
So there are two things in there. So there is that as turnover, and you look at it from a corporate tax perspective. So he has to do income and expenditure and pay corporate tax. Now, because he's doing the work for a guy who's in the US, and the US are consuming that service,
which is not taxable there.
So in that case, he will be doing what we call an export of service, and it will be vatable at the rate of 0
in Kenya.
In Kenya, not 16%. So there's a bit so it's a bit technical. So it is vatable at the rate of 0%.
So in layman's term, he doesn't have to pay taxes, or he has to?
In layman's term, he doesn't have to pay VAT, the very annoying tax. But he has to pay corporate tax.
On his income.
On his income.
Okay, final remarks. Sam, I'll start with you. One sentence for KRA. What should they do? What are the best tax practices that they should employ, considering Kenyans are amongst their most highly taxed?
I think we're in support of KRA in collection of taxes. That's number one. Number two, very clear. We support the number two. The modus operandi, the mode of operation on how they're supposed to do it, I think it has to be tweaked a little bit in consultation with the stakeholders on how they're supposed, because it's a give and take relationship, and you're here to stay, and you're here to build our economy. Number three, the small medium entrepreneurs is a huge industry whereby we can actually now be able to expand the tax bracket so that the guys who are taxed because they are few, they're not squeezed out. Because for example, if a boda person is there, he should be even paid 20 shillings a day. Just 20 shillings a day to pay for the roads.
And it should be made easy for him.
It should be made easy so that through the USSD. Let's make it so easy that when you look with the economy of scale, 20 shillings a day for the small medium entrepreneurs, disseminating that on the ground and that information, I think we are good to go.
Daniel.
I think the point is that it's a civic duty of every Kenyan to pay taxes. But we also think that as far as the Revenue Authority is concerned, they must follow rule of law. We are in a country where we have a good constitution. We have due process that needs to be followed. We have laws that say what happens when a tax is demanded from a taxpayer. I do not believe that we need to follow we need to criminalize collection of taxes. The process should be a civil process, And what needs to happen is that the Kenya Revenue Authority needs to look once more into the way it is going about collection of taxes, primarily from a perspective of a country where there is rule of law that is that needs to be obeyed.
Okay.
So from an overall perspective, while we support what the Kenya Revenue Authority needs to do to make this country run, we think that for all intents and purposes, they must go back to the drawing board when it comes to following the Tax Procedures Act, the provisions of the Income Tax Act, when it comes to collection of taxes, and there is no need to criminalize taxes when there is a civil process applicable.
Final word.
If I look at the approach of name and shame, which happened in Europe with Amazon, Google, Starbucks, that was in 2015, it's a long time. The gains that we've made and the strides that KRA has made over the last 17 years, it has worked. And I go to the old saying, if it ain't broke, why fix it? So and because here now I'm like, if it ain't broke, break it. And I think let's go back and get back to, we were a good trend and trajectory on trust and facilitation for taxpayers. We're on a good trend whereby KRA were viewing taxpayers as your customers. KRA would send Easter messages. KRA, it was a warm,
make it more
fuzzy,
friendly.
More friendly. That aggressiveness and criminalizing, and it is now DCI, it is now criminal. It will get to a place where, as an entrepreneur, then I'll start thinking small. Why would I want to grow?
So in short, a better relationship with KRA.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Philip Mwema, Managing Partner, Anderson Tax. Daniel Ngumi, Partner and Head of Tax Department at Anjawal and Kana Law Firm, ANK. And also Sami Karanja, CEO, Importers and Small Traders Association of Kenya, ISTA. Thank you so much for making time this morning and making the heads and tails of taxes.
Thank you for having us.
Simplifying it for most of us. Thank you so much. We have a lot of feedback coming through. Let's read them through before we get to take a break and then come back with a different kind of conversation. 22422 is the SMS line at Citizen TV Kenya. Trevor Mbija at Zinzi_K. Hashtag is Daybreak. Let's bring them up, see what they're saying. And we have Joses Lelmengit. Why don't KRA corporate directly deduct the 16% VAT from contractors doing businesses with the government instead of currently withholding 5 to 6%? Money is tempting and you get to hold tightly the little you've got. Okay.
Energia Lazaro, good morning. You say tax evasion amounting to billions of shillings is only showing loopholes in KRA itself. Business people may be also the victims of dirty deals from KRA workers.
All right, let's see what else. Peter Kairu says tax evasion doesn't have any other procedure apart from prosecution. It's an economic crime. You don't negotiate with criminals. Criminal activities can only be arbitrated by a court of law. All right.
On SMS, 22422 is our SMS line. Tell us who you are and where you're watching from. For example,
Mutembe Wankuone.
From Meru, you say tax evasion and avoidance should be made a serious crime, punishable heavily. Those avoiding to pay taxes are parasites benefiting from those who pay taxes.
All right. Let's see, you don't leave a name or where you're texting from. You say, what do you advise on county government staff who are deducted their pay as you earn and the amount is not being remitted on time, yet when one is retiring, a clearance from KRA is demanded for a staff to get his or her own dues? It's really worrying and disturbing.
Oh boy. All right, Alvin, you're watching from Bugoma. 40 billions and 14 billions tax evasion is huge amount of money. My concern is, where were KRA officials when all this was happening? Unless KRA officials who slept on job are also arrested, then we shall be treating symptoms and not the disease. Well,
the Commissioner General said that they will be arresting some of their own staff as well, and others have already been prosecuted. Ann Kiambu says, why wouldn't KRA consider having a pay bill or till number? It's easier for everyone, even border businesses.
True. Mary, you say, our tax money does not benefit the common man in Kenya. The roads are full of potholes, no drugs in hospitals, primary schools have no needed amenities. Where does the taxpayers' money go to? Citizen panelists tell us. And why is KQ now having a huge debt if taxes are being paid? All right.
Comment from Eldoret, who says, we should avoid double standards in this country. Why should KRA be expected to accord big players VIP treatment on matters tax, yet mama mbogas and hawkers are being clobbered by county enforcement officers every day across our major towns? If we all evaded tax, will we have a country? All right. And that's where we take a break on these comments that are coming through. The next conversation is about the takeover of NBK by KCB. The group CEO, Joshua Igara, is here with us. He'll tell us whether the share swap was a good deal or not.
Yeah. NBK, remember, was not also performing very well. So now with this new buyout, how will that change the numbers?
And what happens to the employees? The biggest question is any takeover. What happens to the management? What happens to the employees?
I think this year we've seen a lot of that happening. A lot of takeovers, a lot of companies merging together. That conversation in just a little bit.